Truck drivers and logistic companies are faced with challenges that include arson, hijackings and violence on the roads. Criminals often target trucks due to the valuable cargo and the vehicles they carry, making logistics companies extremely vulnerable to theft and malicious attacks. Police statistics reveal that a little over 2,500 truck hijackings took place during the first 3 months of 2023, with hijackers ambushing the trucks, overpowering the drivers and often stealing both the vehicle and its contents. For more on this, we're joined by Jason Mellow, Head of Business Insurance at MiWay. Jason, appreciate your time this afternoon. Now, that number, a little over 2,500, in fact, 2,573 is the number of hijackings in a quarter, is extremely high.
Absolutely. I think our clients are faced with a lot of different risks these days, and that is becoming very significant in their lives, and it's causing a lot of damage.
Now, obviously, it has an implication not just on the clients, but also on you as a business, because these are some of the people or some of the business that you're insuring.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a lot of business with the transport industry. We have for a good number of years now. And these businesses are the lifeline of our economy. So we're very actively involved. And it's been a tough couple of months, I can tell you that, Hugo.
So these criminals targeting trucks often pose a significant threat to the safety and well-being of drivers. Now, how can businesses prioritize safety and ensure the employees are better prepared to handle unforeseen situations on the road? Now, I'd imagine if I was a trucker and some guy just pushed up, pointed a gun at me and told me to jump out. You know, I mean, how do you prepare for that? Never mind the preparation, but also how do you deal with the trauma associated with what they've gone through in the last few weeks? Yeah,
that's a very difficult question. Owners can send their drivers on various courses. There's different companies around South Africa that can train drivers how to handle that. But at the end of the day, spur of the moment, someone points a gun at you, I think most of us would just listen and get out. After that, as long as the first priority is always the driver's safety. It must be very harrowing being a driver on some of those major routes these days, especially around the mining areas with coal trucks. We've seen a lot of incidents on the N1, N2, N3. So yeah, the first is to train your staff on what to look out for and also how to handle it. But at the same time, obviously, you've got to make sure your business is covered. These losses are devastating for these businesses. I think they've been under a lot of pressure. Fuel prices going up. Margins are often quite low in that sector. And we see people working very long hours, but they're vital to our economy.
Now, let's talk about the importance of investing in advanced tracking systems like GPS devices, obviously to monitor vehicle locations, provide immediate alerts for suspicious activities and so on. Now, how do these tracking systems mitigate risk and overall security?
Well, some of the tracking systems, it depends what you go for. But a lot of them are live feeding into a bureau where people are watching the trucks. You can get cover with armed guards. There's a vast array of measures you can take. Unfortunately, these things can get expensive, but if you look at the implications of not having that, then I always think it's probably a very good thing for businesses to invest in tracking, know where your drivers are, be able to pick up as soon as something goes wrong, and make sure that the right people are alerted to come to their assistance.
Well, I mean, the one thought is that actual prevention is better than cure, but you can't always entirely prevent it. There was a scenario where a truck in KZN somewhere with, I think, 3 million rand worth of tyres was recovered, was found, in fact, and the merchandise recovered only, I think, an hour or two after the incident. So I suppose that kind of puts paid to what you're saying now.
Yes, we see these fairly often, the idea is that we need to get the police there, we need to get the guards there as quickly as possible. And some areas are a little bit tougher than others to get to. Some of the roads are long and remote. But as long as businesses are covered and insured, Your insurance company will replace that. It's a matter of getting hold of them or getting hold of your broker if you're dealing with a broker. Report it immediately. Phone the tracking company if you're able to. But yeah, we've all got to be very alert. And yeah, my heart goes out sometimes to these transport businesses and their drivers. It's not easy out there.
Well, I think the hearts of men are also going out to the insurance companies, particularly at this juncture where multiple trucks have been set alight. And obviously insurance companies have to pay out. Now, your profitability stems out from the absence of paying out. So what conversations are you as a business having with your customers and certainly internally to try and deal with these issues? I mean, what advice do you give the owners of trucks that are insuring with your company?
Well, you know, we do specify some of the tracking devices and companies we believe are best to work with. But if you look at overall advice for business owners, I think you need to make sure that you're adequately covered. And there's various things you can do to make sure that your business is protected from an insurance point of view. I know it's only one leg of it, but it's a very important leg that companies get the right cover that suits them and make sure that they're covered. So there's many ways of looking at it. What we've seen over the last few years, Hugo, is there's obviously a lot of risks out there. We've had, obviously in July 21, we had the riots. We've had floods. We've even had earthquakes now. So insurance companies are under pressure, but the irony is that's why we're here. That makes us relevant. You know, that's what we have to do. We need to make sure that we are geared, that our processes are good, fast, and most importantly, we're there to serve our clients. Any business dealing with clients out there, it doesn't matter what you're selling, your business is to serve, and we need to serve our clients, and we need to serve the drivers and their employees properly.
Jason, comprehensive insurance coverage is vital for protecting businesses from financial losses, obviously due to criminal incidents. Now, walk us through the specific types of insurance coverage that are essential for trucking and logistic companies, especially regarding liability cover for their employees, protection of clients and their goods.
Yeah, so I think if you take a step back for these companies, just go and do a little bit of research about who you're doing business with first, and make sure that you look at your risks and make sure that you've got the adequate cover. Obviously, we've got to insure the truck, the trailer. We've got to make sure the goods in transit is adequately covered. But employer's liability is also very important. That covers the policyholder against injury or worst cases, death of the drivers. But also SASRIA. Most insurance will offer SASRIA. And SASRIA really comes in when there's either politically motivated malicious acts. It covers things like riots, strikes, terrorism, and basic public disorders. But yeah, so I think most businesses will be offered SASRIA. My recommendation is don't exclude it if you can. Look through your policy, look at your assets. Just make sure you're covered for what you need. It's very easy for us as insurance to say you must take out full comprehensive on everything. We know businesses are under pressure. But we need to make sure that the main items are certainly covered. Some logistics companies, we always recommend it, but some don't need, as an example, property cover. But it depends on the business. Some small owners just run with 2 or 3 trucks. Then you get the bigger companies with fleets with more sophisticated tracking and technology. But start from the beginning. Have a look at what you're getting. Have a look at what you need. Look at your policy. Are there exclusions that are going to be very relevant to you? What are the excesses like? Look at the premiums. Premiums are obviously important, but when the tacky hits the tar, it's when at 2 o'clock in the morning your driver's stranded, the side of the road, you need to make sure that you're dealing with somebody who can be your partner at the scene, can go there, secure your driver, secure your goods, make sure the goods are moved, make sure your truck is protected. And if not, these people, our clients they've got businesses to run. We need to make sure as an insurer, like all insurers, we need to make sure that we get them back on the road as quickly as possible. That means towing the truck to the nearest repair yard, making sure we get the parts, and that truck is repaired as fast as possible, because every day that you're not on the road, that is revenue lost. So service is very important. Look at the insurer. Look at their claims process. Is it easy? Is it readily available? Is it there at 24 hours a day to make sure that we can minimize the impact on your business?
Now, Jason, if we go back maybe 2 or 3 months ago, one could potentially, if you were in the trucking business, would get away with, okay, I'm not going to get comprehensive insurance because I have the latest tracking devices on my fleet of trucks. But tracking devices aren't going to protect you from some hooligans who come out and burn your trucks. Have you seen a movement in the certain inquiries or the movement of policies from third party, if there is a third party in the trucking business, to something that is more comprehensive on the back of all these trucks that have been burnt to a shell?
Yeah, we definitely have, Hugo. But, at the end of the day, there's lots of other things that businesses need to be aware of. Accident cover, accident damage is the most prevalent that we see. We see horrific accidents. We see trucks burning out, buses burning out at the side of the road. And it's not always as a result of riots or that malicious damage that we've been talking about. We've seen trucks stuck because of floods. I think, yes, it's very important, but we need to look at all kinds of risks that, life is funny. If you just take cover for one risk, chances are that there could be significant damage coming from another area.
Now, I suppose the next question for me is, in some of these conversations that you're having with your clients, what are the challenges that they're facing? I mean, obviously business is slow. So what's putting pressure, I suppose is the question, what is putting pressure on some of your clients and not getting the best possible cover that they can get?
Well, I think it's low margins. It's high petrol costs. Fuel is a significant cost, and so is maintenance. We need to make sure that we educate our clients about maintaining their trucks, making sure their brakes work. But at the end of the day, there is pressure from everywhere. Certainly, the loads and the hours that drivers are being asked to drive now has increased significantly. We heard our president speaking earlier about the rail network. It's put a lot of pressure. It's opportunities for transporters. But, mostly with the mining sector as well, we see drivers having to work very long hours, very little sleep. And, the margins are really, it's difficult for our truck owners. But, Hugo, it's amazing for me. We deal with a lot of different industries on a daily basis. And with all these sort of negative risks that I've been talking about, I've seen how resilient our business owners are. They keep making plans, and we're seeing actually growth in that sector. We're seeing a higher demand. And I think I started off today saying it's quite ironic that it is costing the insurance industry a lot recently with everything that's been going on. But, it's an industry that becomes more relevant in some ways. It doesn't mean our margins are getting any better. They will get smaller with increased risk and all these various things we've had happening to us in the last few years. But yeah, I think we've seen businesses are going forward. They're a little bit smarter now about making sure they're covered. They're making sure that their premiums do get paid. And it's a bit erratic, certainly in the first few months when some of the smaller business owners with 1 or 2 trucks join. It's to make sure that if they've got a contract, have they been paid? Are they able to pay their premiums? So there are challenges, but yeah, the business is going on, and I truly believe that, and it's once again, it's easy for me to say, but insurance is not necessarily something that business owners should cut back on. We need to look at other ways to cut back because, we've seen with the Natal floods, KZN floods, we've seen with certainly the 2021 riots, we've seen even earthquake, all these kinds of events that we're not really used to as South Africans. We've seen the impact it has on people when they're completely unprepared. Yeah. Businesses can fall apart after all those hard years and hard work. So what we see as well is business owners are starting to look for, not just basic cover. They want other services that the insurer can offer that can maybe help them run their business in other ways as well. So it becomes more of a partner than purely a short-term insurer.
Now, considering the current state of criminal activity in South Africa against truck drivers, it's obviously just one half of the equation that we've looked at, which is what you as a business, what you as an insurer can do, what the business can do. But let's talk about government and law enforcement agencies, right? What do you think the government and law enforcement agencies can do to chip in to this problem?
That's a very difficult one. We do rely on our basic police force. We rely on the rule of law. So I can't comment on what the government can do. But
you don't have a wish list there you're sitting on.
I think we all have a wish list, but we've also got where the private sector does step in. And it's providing security, it's with technology. So I certainly would like more policing on the major roads. I think some of the tough ones are where the syndicates are involved. It can be in hijacking or in various different criminalities. So yes, I know the government is under pressure. But, anything to reduce the risk is going to help at the end of the day, not just for the insurers, for our, what we have to pay out in claims, but it's also to keep premiums more affordable. If these risks become commonplace, then unfortunately insurers will be forced to increase their premiums. And, that's where the business owner can feel it in their back pocket.
Jason Mellow, Head of Business Insurance at MiWay. Appreciate your time this afternoon unpacking that conversation for us.